Welcome to our channel. Please like and subscribe. 10 subtle signs someone wants your approval. Have you noticed someone constantly checking your reaction before they speak? Or suddenly changing their opinion the moment you disagree? Most people never openly say, "I want your approval." Instead, it appears in subtle psychological behaviors, tiny signals hidden inside conversations. Once you learn to recognize them, you start seeing them everywhere. Today, we are exploring 10 signs someone secretly wants your approval. Some are so subtle that people completely miss them. By the end of this video, you may even recognize some of these signs in yourself. Number 1, they constantly look for your reaction. One clear sign is frequent reaction checking. Someone tells a story, then immediately watches your face. They share an opinion, then pause nervously. They make a joke and instantly wait for your response, because your reaction matters deeply to them. Approval-seeking people often use reactions to measure their social value. If you approve, they relax. If you seem uninterested, they may become anxious. Number 2, they apologize too often. Some people apologize constantly, even when they did nothing wrong. They say sorry for asking questions, sorry for talking too much, sorry for taking space. This often comes from fear of rejection or criticism. Excessive apologizing is often less about politeness and more about trying to avoid negative judgment. They want reassurance that they are still accepted, still liked. Number 3, they change their opinions quickly. Have you ever noticed someone agree with almost everything you say? At first, it may seem like friendliness. Sometimes it is approval-seeking behavior. People who want approval often avoid disagreement because disagreement feels risky. So instead, they adapt their opinions to match the people around them, even when they disagree. Number 4, they over-explain small things. Approval-seeking people often explain themselves far more than necessary. A simple decision suddenly becomes a long, detailed justification. Why? Because they are trying to avoid judgment. Deep down, they fear being misunderstood or criticized, so they try to control how others perceive them. The more insecure someone feels, the more likely they are to over-explain. Number 5, they seek constant reassurance. This sign appears in many forms. Was that okay? Do you think they liked me? Was that weird? They struggle trusting their own judgment, so they depend heavily on external validation. Without reassurance, anxiety grows quickly. Number 6, they laugh even when something is not funny. Watch closely in social situations. Some people laugh immediately after others laugh, even if they did not fully understand the joke. This often happens because laughter creates social bonding. Approval-seeking people sometimes use forced laughter to signal acceptance and connection. It becomes a subconscious survival strategy. If I laugh, maybe I will belong. Number 7. They avoid saying what they really want sometimes. Approval-seeking behavior appears through silence. A person may avoid expressing preferences entirely. They say things like, "Anything is fine. I don't mind. You choose." Over time, this behavior can become automatic. They suppress personal desires because they fear inconvenience, conflict, or rejection. Keeping others happy starts feeling safer than expressing authenticity. Number 8. They work too hard to impress people. Approval-seeking people often put enormous pressure on themselves socially. They may constantly try to appear intelligent, successful, funny, or helpful, not because they are fake, but because they fear not being enough naturally. Their self-worth becomes tied to performance. They believe acceptance must be earned, so they overwork emotionally to maintain approval. Number 9. They take criticism very personally. Nobody enjoys criticism, but approval-seeking people often experience criticism much more intensely. Even small feedback can feel emotionally overwhelming. Why? Because criticism threatens the validation they rely on. If their self-esteem depends heavily on external approval, negative feedback can feel like rejection of their entire identity. This creates defensiveness, anxiety, or self-doubt. Number 10, they become different around different people. One of the deepest signs is personality shifting. A person behaves one way with friends, another way with co-workers, another way with authority figures. Everyone adapts socially to some degree, but extreme personality shifting may signal unstable self-worth. Instead of expressing a stable identity, they become whatever seems most socially accepted in the moment. Approval becomes more important than authenticity. Why humans seek approval. The desire for approval is human. For thousands of years, survival depended on belonging. Rejection could mean danger, isolation, or a death. So, the human brain evolved to care strongly about social acceptance. Even today, your brain still reacts powerfully to approval and rejection. Social validation activates reward systems in the brain. Criticism activates stress responses. That is why approval can feel emotionally powerful. But there is a difference between healthy social connection and depending entirely on other people for self-worth. When approval seeking becomes dangerous, the problem is not caring what people think. Everyone cares sometimes. The danger begins when approval controls your identity, when your happiness depends entirely on external validation, when authenticity disappears. Over time, approval seeking can create anxiety, emotional exhaustion, resentment, and loss of self-confidence. a person slowly disconnects from who they are because they become too focused on becoming acceptable to everyone else. How confident people differ. Confident people still appreciate kindness and acceptance, but they are not controlled by it emotionally. They can tolerate disagreement, they can survive criticism, and they can express themselves honestly without constantly monitoring every reaction. True confidence is not arrogance, it is emotional stability. The ability to remain yourself even when approval feels uncertain. Today, you explored 10 subtle signs someone may accurately want your approval, from constant reassurance to personality shifting. These behaviors often reveal insecurities beneath the surface. And most importantly, you learned that approval seeking is not weakness. It is a deeply human response connected to belonging, safety, and self-worth. But the healthiest relationships happen when people stop performing for acceptance and start feeling safe enough to be themselves. Because real confidence does not come from being approved by everyone. It comes from knowing who you are even when approval disappears. And once you begin noticing these subtle behaviors, you may start understanding people in a completely different way, including yourself. That was excellent. Please like and subscribe for daily lessons. See you next time.